What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Decide and Design. So, it's been quite a heavy week. I have had kind of a lot of mirrors this week, and I want to get into that. So, I was on book club this weekend, and if you listen to this, I've talked about book club like so many different times. And this week we were talking about grit and what that really means. So we're reading the book The Art of Impossible right now, and Steven Kotler is the author, and he specializes and has been researching like success in people for like 30 years, but he really gets into like the neuroscience and how the brain works. And just like how people who achieved what we thought was impossible, their habits in their brains work different than most people. And that's kind of what he gets into. So one of the most important things that he talks about is having grit. And that brings me to the topic of this episode, which is, what are you doing when nobody's watching? Now, grit doesn't really mean... Actually, you know what? Yeah, that is a perfect definition of grit. What are you doing when nobody's watching? How much pressure can you handle? Are you making sacrifices in order to achieve the things you want in life? And one of the reasons that this was such a big mirror for me this weekend is because I don't feel like I have always had grit in my life. I feel like I'm not always showing up when nobody's watching. And, when I was listening to Alan talk in book club, and he was talking about how much he's had to suffer in order to have what he has right now, it struck a chord with me because I've gotten to the point where I literally can't lie to myself anymore. Like, there's no more of me bullshitting myself or telling myself a story. It's like I have to be honest with myself now. I can't continue relationships with people that I don't feel aligned with. I can't tell myself that I'm happy when I'm not. I can't do things that drain me and pretend like I'm enjoying them. I can't do things like that anymore. And this was a big mirror moment for me where I realized, like, okay, I'm actually not showing up for myself when nobody's watching all the time. And I don't think you're ever going to get to a point where you show up all the time like that, unless you're just someone who's just a different breed of success and just like can do something like that. But I don't know. I think that's just human nature. We want to seek comfort, and that's kind of how I want to live my life too. But the thing is you can't achieve your dreams, and you can't achieve what you want to achieve if all you do is seek comfort. It's not a thing. And what we need to learn to do is build up grit in our life. When nobody's watching, we need to be disciplined enough to do the things that we need to do even when we don't feel like it. I know Alan used this analogy where he's like, no one ever regrets going to the gym. But it's the moments before that, like, you really, really don't feel like going. You really don't feel like going. And like even when you feel like it's impossible, if you just push yourself to like get into your car and tie your gym shoes, that's enough to get you to the gym, and you will never ever regret going to the gym. it's just not going to happen. Like, you're not going to be on your deathbed and be like, I wish I didn't work out that much. I wish I wasn't trying to be so successful. Like, it's not a thing. But what will happen is you're going to be on your deathbed and you're going to wish that you may have worked harder on your dreams, or I wish I worked harder in my relationships. I wish I did what I wanted to do and not what others expected of me. Grit is a part of that. Grit is like doing the thing that you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. So how can we... I'm still trying to figure out how we can build this up in our life. For me, having a community around you that's going to push you and hold you accountable is huge. Having a system like peak performance tracking, where you literally track what you're doing every single day in order to achieve your goals. I think having a system like that put in place in your life can help you. But I think just building it over time, like, just force yourself to do something for an extended period of time until you can build it up enough to, like, do more. When you feel like giving up, that is, like, just the beginning. There's a young lady talking during book club, and I won't name her name just so I don't, like, expose her. I don't know if she would want me to put this out there because it's pretty private community, but she was talking about how she did, like, a challenge last year during COVID, and she was saying the challenge was to do 50 push-ups. And she was like, I could do 50 push-ups. That's fine. I could do 50 push-ups today. And she's like, I did 50, and then I was like, no, like, you're not done. We're going to do more. She's like, I ended up doing 100, and she's like, and by then I was dying. Like, that was it. I gave every single thing that I got. I felt like throwing up. She's like, I ended up doing 100 more, and I did 200 push-ups. And she's like, that's the definition of grit. She's like, when I thought I was done, that was just the beginning. And it sounds so, like, cliche. Like, Tony Robbins always says, like, you don't start counting your push-ups until it hurts, then you start counting. And it's like, you hear that, like, on the like, memes and social media bios, like, all the time. People will say things like that, but, like, it's like, yeah, like, actually try and do that. When you actually try and push yourself and go above and beyond your limits, it's not only more fulfilling, but it also feels like, at the time, like, this is it. Like, this is terrible. This is the worst thing ever. But it's also the best thing that you can do for yourself. And another thing I wanted to mention during this is we live in a world where, with social media, where it's like you're seeing everybody's highlights and you're seeing people do these things, but that's not what they're actually doing on a daily basis. It's like, what are these people doing outside of social media? Are they really grinding every single day to achieve what they want? Or are they just putting up a picture and making you believe that their life is full of sunshine and rainbows? And I get very, very passionate about this because I think social media is messing with people's brains. I think it's trying to show that, like, working less is the key to happiness, and I strongly disagree. Doing meaningful work is important, not working less. We need to work hard. Like, humans are literally built to go above and beyond with their work. The problem is that people are in the wrong line of work. They're doing things that aren't fulfilling to them, and they're doing things that, like, they don't even believe in. That's the real problem. Because if you were doing something every single day that you actually wanted to do, you wouldn't mind putting in the work, because it would feed your bigger mission. It would feed your why. So be very, very cautious with what you see and feed your brain with on social media, because if I'm being honest, a lot of it is lies and bullshit. And the truth is that we need to have more grit. We need to become more savage, as some people would say. We need to become more disciplined, and I think we just need to work harder. Hard work needs to be cool again. And that was a big mirror for me, because I'm not trying to say like that I'm some big special person and like, you know, I'm working harder than everyone. I'm not. And that's why I made this podcast today, because I need to get my shit together. I don't know. If this is something that resonates with you, I'd love to go deeper on it. I'd love to like have a conversation about it. But this is something that like I've just been contemplating it for the last couple days, and yeah, I haven't been showing up the way I want to in my life, and that's going to change. That's going to change starting today. If any of you want to connect with me, or if this type of topic like resonates with you, send me a message on Instagram at b_low22, and I can get you into either the Next Level University community, where it's literally just a bunch of people trying to achieve their dreams, and just a community where you are supported in doing that, whatever your unique flavor of that is. Or I can get you onto book club, and that's a very, very small, tight community where we call it Mirror Club, because it's just like we have a hardcore discussion about the principles of whatever book we're reading. But like, for example, this week, the chapter was on grit, but we just talked about grit the entire time, and people were going deep on their life, and it's just really, really heavy conversations, really heavy moments with each other, and it's honestly just so beautiful and amazing. And you're going to meet a lot of people who are like-minded and all about trying to achieve your dreams and your goals, and, you know, just making yourself the strongest version. So if that's something that interests you, send me a message and I can hook you up with that. But other than that, I hope you guys resonated with this and enjoyed this podcast, and I will see you on the next one.